What is the crack, everyone? It's Ollie from B2B Sports here. This time we're back with a little bit of Minnesota Vikings trade news. There's been a huge rumour that's been circulating on social media this week that the Minnesota Vikings would be interested in trading for Matthew Stafford of the LA Rams. Now it's interesting because the Vikings play the Rams this coming Thursday, tomorrow on Thursday Night Football, coupled up with the fact that Kevin O'Connell did win a Super Bowl with the LA Rams and with Matthew Stafford back in 2022. In this vid, I'm going to give the pros and cons of this trade and then give my overall summary on whether or not this is actually feasible, whether this actually is a realistic trade about to happen. But before we jump into it, as always, it would be much appreciated if you whack the like button, give my channel a subscription. I've got a really good feeling about this channel at the minute with the NFL content, the Minnesota Vikings content. So whoever is watching all my videos, giving a like and follow the channel, I really appreciate it. Thank you. Right, can the Minnesota Vikings ever be happy with the quarterback? I don't think so. After Minnesota's 5-0 start to the season, they took their first loss against the Detroit Lions this past Sunday. Everyone's been on board the Sammy Darnold hype train after their rookie QB JJ McCarthy went down in pre-season. He won NFC Offensive Player of the Month for September and things were looking up. However, he didn't have his best game against the Jets and he threw a crucial interception against the Lions, and I suppose this is where the rumours have begun. Stafford at the Rams, they've had injuries to Puka and Cooper Kupp, and I think there's an underlying perception in the media that the Vikings need an experienced head of one final piece to this jigsaw puzzle to get the Minnesota Vikings over the line and to get them to get that ring, to get that Super Bowl. And is Matt Stafford that piece? That is the question. If we look at their overall stats side by side this season, Sam Darnold has had the better year. I think the passing TD stat stands out for me, 12 for Sam Darnold, only 3 for Matt Stafford. Darnold clearly has the weapons in Minnesota and that's shown in his rate, a 104 rating compared to Matt Stafford's 83.6. Let's jump into the pros of this potential trade then. The obvious one, Matt Stafford is a Super Bowl winner. It's quite clear that the Minnesota Vikings are trying to chase that first Super Bowl, that first ring. But Matt Stafford has been there and done that. There's no denying that. He's got the ring to prove it. He's an experienced head that's been in that position before. He's cool, he's calm under pressure, and I'm pretty sure with the right team he will succeed as well. And I suppose one of the major doubts on Sam Darnold is, what is he going to be like under the highest of high pressure scenarios? What is he going to be like in that Super Bowl when you just need one moment? And I think many people would potentially back a Stafford in that type of scenario over a Sam Darnold. Number 2, Matt Stafford will have access to an unbelievable pool of talent with the Minnesota offense. We've talked about it before in previous Minnesota Vikings videos. We've still got Hockenson to come back. We've still got Dalton Risner to come back, alongside Justin Jefferson, the best wide receiver in the game. Jordan Addison, he hasn't had the best of seasons, but he's got plenty of potential. You've got speedy Jalen Naylor, who's a great third option to have as well, alongside Aaron Jones, and a very good offensive line with 2 of the best guards in the game, with Dara Shaw and Brian O'Neill. I strongly believe even the lowest rated quarterbacks in the league will be able to produce wins with this Minnesota Vikings offense. Number 3, he could give us the edge over Detroit. He was at Detroit for 11 seasons. He stuck it out in some difficult years over in Ford Field. He would be very comfortable playing there. As we talked about his demeanour and his character, he would not be overcome by emotion or feel the pressure of the occasion. Detroit's got a number of late and come week 18 and potentially in the postseason, that'll be a big advantage to have someone who knows that team so well and someone who could give us the edge over Detroit. Number 4, we touched on this earlier, he'll be reunited with KOC. He obviously clearly had a good relationship with him at the Rams. They won the Super Bowl together. KOC is a master of an offensive play caller, and someone like Stafford who could come in, become very familiar with KOC's game, his schemes, that might suit the Minnesota Vikings offense down to a T. Number 5, and I suppose this is more of a pro to Sam Darnold than the Vikings, but Sam Darnold would potentially have a long-term deal, a long-term home at the Rams. We're talking what ifs and hypotheticals here, but if the trade were to happen, a swap deal might be in place where Sam Darnold goes the other way. I imagine Sean McVay and the Rams are looking for more of a long-term quarterback. Stafford is coming towards the twilight years of his career. And Sam Darnold, only being 27 years of age, would get himself the bag and a long-term home as well. And I'm here for that. The cons now, Matt Stafford is 36 years of age. He'll be turning 37 in February. And he's probably coming to the sort of the end of his career. Those peak numbers that we saw in 2020 and 2021 with the Rams are probably long gone now. A few more interceptions maybe creeping into his game. He's not as agile as he used to be. Whereas with Sam Darnold, he's 27 years of age. He's still in his prime athletically. And if you need someone to escape the pocket, like Sam's proved on a number of occasions already this year, he can do that using his legs and just sort of escaping the pressure. Has Stafford still got that arm strength? It would be a big risk at this point. Number 2, this team has great chemistry. It's proved time and time again in the locker room videos, the speeches, etc, etc. If it ain't broke, don't fix it at this point. No one expected the team to be 5-1. Yes, we dropped an L to the Detroit Lions. It's still been a phenomenal season for the Vikings. We're still on pace for the playoffs and we're still in that hunt for the number 1 seed in the NFC. So why risk ruining the team chemistry, training away your QB and bringing in someone that's going to take time to get used to the schemes, take time to catch up with this offense. Number 3, I think it's quite clear that the Vikings are going to be buyers at the trade deadline, but we could use this cap space for more of a significant trade, in my opinion. aka Dexter Lawrence or a top corner in the game, adding another position to this team that would tip us over the line and get us to achieve our goals. Obviously, the QB is the most important position in the NFL, but it's a team game too, and there are other attractive targets out there. Number 4, whether the Stafford trade happens or not, the Minnesota Vikings have already bought into the future with JJ McCarthy. The Stafford deal would most likely be until the end of this season before JJ McCarthy steps in. Once McCarthy is back healthy, you have to let him play. He proved that in the pre-season. You can't let him sit out another year. He is the future of this franchise. And finally, number 5, you would literally be buying Matt Stafford into the franchise for one thing and one thing only, and that is to win the Super Bowl. And if that doesn't happen, we're going to have a whole load of egg on our face. It's going to be one almighty failure, and is that level of embarrassment worth it? And I think to summarise, will this deal happen? I don't think so. I think this may be one of those social media rumours that has spiralled out of control. I don't see why the Minnesota Vikings would risk it at this point. If they're 5-1, maybe if they drop an L to the Rams, this might build even more traction than it already has. But we've got a good thing going in Minnesota. Sam Darnold, yes, he's had a couple of moments, a couple of wobbles, but for the large majority, he's been playing lights out and been far better than many people imagined. Be buys at the trade deadline, plug that hole with Dexter Lawrence, and be a championship winning side. I know many old head pundits like Mike Florio are calling for a Matt Stafford at the Vikings. 2 or 3 years ago maybe, yes. 36 to 37 years old, I'm not too sure. Matt Stafford is an unbelievable player. He's been there and done it before. No Vikings player can say that. But in Sam Darnold I trust. In this team I trust. I think Sam, like many others before, aka Baker Mayfield, will go get the bag this off-season, and I think he'll find himself a starting job in another franchise in the league. But we owe it to him to finish this season and see how far he can take us. I'd be interested to know your thoughts on the Matt Stafford potential trade rumours. Would you take Stafford right now? Let us know your thoughts and opinions. But as always, thank you so much for watching and listening. It means the world to me. Peace out and SKOL Vikes.